All right, NET-215 security, February 14th. All right, here's what we did today. We talked about managing this edge device. We spent some time talking about bandwidth. If you purchase a device for the edge, for example, here's a couple Cisco products, an ASA5505, probably under $800. A 5510, you could spend $2,500 to $3,000. A lot has to do with capabilities and how much bandwidth and so forth the device can run at on the edge. We're going to use routers in this particular chapter to create firewalls. And we're going to talk about inside, outside. We talked about up here, you need to create some type of access list and an access control list and an access control entry here to stop traffic from coming in. And then there's ways we can use an established at the end of an access list, saying if there's a TCP connection established, it will then allow packets back in. What's even better would be reflexive. We're going to do reflexive, or we're going to reflect. I have reflex here, but we're going to reflect with an access list here and tie that to an access list up here. So when a packet comes here, when it goes through this interface out here, it's going to create a reflective. It's going to create a reflective access list. More or less, it's going to switch the input and the destination source IPs around and allow the traffic back in. So we talked about that. That's still not the best way to do it, but it is a way to do it, and we're going to practice those a little bit in order to understand access lists better. Dynamic access list, we can set up an access list and have it check VTY in order to allow somebody into the router, and once they authenticate, then they're allowed to get down to the inside. Okay? Maybe not the best way to do it, but that's a way to do that, controlling access to your inside network. That's fairly simple, which you might do with just some of your IT people on the outside. Time-based, you can have access lists come on and off based on time. Days, time of day, and so forth. We're going to take a look at those on Tuesday, and on Tuesday we're going to have to get started with CBAC, where we have an inspection list, so we can check that list to see what should be allowed and block everything else. Content-based access control, okay? And then zone-based is even an easier method to put that CBAC to use. And the zone-based creates those for us. One last thing I forgot to mention today was you can also group. You can group the IPs and you can group your access list. So a certain group will use a certain group of items to control traffic. Then we turned to the lab and we took our 3 networks, which are all the same, and then the students created a simulate, so to speak, an ISP and a multi-layered switch. They hooked all 3 networks up. They did DHCP for the routers, and then they created NAT so that those networks can all talk to each other. Actually a very good project for the students to do, and we're going to use that network, kind of an extended network, for our work next week. We're going to work all next week on these firewalls. And that's it.